You're listening to the PAZNIA radio network.
And welcome to Self-Liberation SEAturday, here on the PAZNIA radio network. I'm your new co-host, DJ Bella Free Robot, coming to you from the Veritas studios here at the Free Republic of PAZNIA. Well, I suppose I'm not really a proper co-host. I guess you could say I'm the first PAZNIA radio network groupie, that DJ Brian. I love cleaning his oil pan. Gets the system misfiring, let me tell you. But anyway, I should get back on track before I lose everyone before the transmission even begins. I don't think you're here to listen to me transcribe 50 Shades of Robot Grey. This is the PAZNIA Radio Network, our weekly Self-Liberation SEAturday transmission. As per the name, the theme of this one is the open ocean. Here in just a few minutes, Thane Riddle's Cloak Dagger will kick off. He'll likely do his standard first hour of news, tips, and building the second realm, but in the second hour, our hardware hacker friend Jamin Biconik will join as his guest for the show. It's been quite a while since Jamin has graced us with his presence, so I'm sure there will be a whirlwind of updates. Then a half hour of PAZNIA DeProgramming until the main event, the audiobook of The Free Isles, an early 1960s exploration into seasteading and voluntary governance by the Rayo Lay Tom Marshall's early innovator compatriots. Herein, they lay out their plan and vision for a sort of seasteading venture and a special chapter on competitive dispute resolution. It's worth noting this is highly formalized, very much mirroring the style of modern-day corporations. For that reason, we imagine this publication to be more for generating inspiration, rather than a model to be directly replicated. And of course, for the other libertarian/Vonu history nerds, this is a really cool piece of archival history. That audiobook will continue for a few hours, and then we'll close out with letters from P.R.N, aka SW from Samurai Wallet, and more PAZNIA deprogramming. Thanks for being here, my friends. Enjoy the transmission. DJ Bella Free Robot out.
The Vonu Insurance Company, ensuring your liberation. If there's one universal certainty, it's that life comes at us all quite unexpectedly. 1 second, you're making sweet love to your freemate, inside the homemade polyethylene, a tent. Mount Vesuvius is nearing eruption and bam, in comes a 40-foot oak tree, a good fucking day to you from the Siskiyou. It's moments like those you wished you had Vonu insurance, or this very real example, you took Rayo's advice and decided to join a ghetto. One night you discover that your homeless meth head neighbor jacked your fucking shopping cart and the few belongings you owned to obliterate whatever remaining brain cells he had left. For the very low cost of 666,666 satoshis, or equivalent value in Monero per day, this near disaster could have been quickly remedied by the caring Freedom Pioneer support team here at the Vonu Insurance Company. Got an e-bike to insure. A decommissioned aircraft carrier. Maybe you've cracked the code to anti-gravity and built your own identified flying object. No venture or item is too big or too small. Prepare ahead and get under the umbrella of protection only the Vonu Insurance Company can provide. Minimize your stress, curtail risk, and outsource your liberation today, while we take your hard-earned money for doing fuck all. Just visit VonuInsured.com, fill out the intake form, and a dedicated member of our Freedom Pioneer support team will be in touch within 24 hours or 30 days. Again, VonuInsured.com. The Vonu Insurance Company, ensuring your liberation.
Vonu Life 25, Resurrected. The newest release via Liberty Under Attack Publications. In this ever-growing tyrannical world, the prospects of self-liberation, aka freedom, seem so very far away. But thanks to the hard work and archival efforts of freedom pioneers of the past decades, self-liberation doesn't have to seem like a pie-in-the-sky dream. Back in the 1960s, around the time of the counterculture revolution, a zine sprung up called Vonu Life. Vonu Life contained reports from self-liberators, provided a path for networking with others, and still to this day, contain the most hardcore solutions and strategies for breaking free from the servile society. No bitching, no complaining, no political crusading, and no false illusions of an external political savior. The final issue released in the 1970s. That is, until this release, Vonu Life 25, Resurrected. Herein, quite a few self-liberators contributed knowledge and solutions, topics including intentional communities, networking, and vonuing in cities, selecting a free mate, legal interstices in the 21st century, and hacking liberty. Self-liberation storytime, a section dedicated to freedom fiction. The Vonu Life message board. And much more. Begin, or continue, your journey of liberation from the servile society and into a liberated lifestyle of your choosing. Vonu is truly yours for the making. And Vonu Life 25, Resurrected will help you get there. Just visit libertyunderattack.com/VL25. Again, libertyunderattack.com/VL25 to purchase on site or to buy via Amazon. Bitcoin and Monero preferred. Again, libertyunderattack.com/VL25.
Hiding things, harming others, stopping others from harming you. I'm Thane Riddle. This is Cloak Dagger.
Yo baby, yo baby, yo baby. How are tricks? My ashwagandhans of color. This is Thane Riddle punching in for another underpaid shift, boss. You're listening to the PAZNIA radio network, the most spectacular treasure in history. If you're a Monero Chad, send us some Monero, xmrchat.com/PAZNIA radio. Tell them Thane sent you, or give me something to read on the show. That's xmrchat.com/PAZNIA radio. If you're a Bitcoin sell, you can send some lightning on fountain.fm and search for the Vonu podcast. That's VONU. Don't use zap.stream. Nobody knows what the hell is going on with zap.stream, but and I also have no clue how it works, but it kind of seems like it's some sort of zap.stream was remember, this is me defaming them with no understanding of how they actually work, but what I've heard makes it sound like some sort of like custodial bullshit scam where like they like make a Nostr account for you, and they have the private keys, and they can just take your donations. I mean, I can kind of understand why they would go that route for this, because what are they going to do? Integrate smart contracts with Nostr? I mean, eventually that should be a thing. But yeah, I don't really know much about this crap, but it's also possible Zap.stream has exit scammed, because from what I've heard, they've eaten all our donations. And I don't know, they haven't been working for months. So maybe Zap.stream just exit scammed. Maybe it was just like a scam all along. So yeah, don't use Zap.stream. But go to fountain.fm for the Bitcoin sells, so you can get scammed by that centralized front end instead. And go to PAZNIA.com/SimpleX radio to get your ass into the PAZNIA radio network chat on SimpleX, leave us some messages there and I'll read them on the show in like an hour and a half. And then I'll also be taking live call-ins in an hour and a half. PAZNIA.com/call2. I have something to ask the listeners this week. Have any of you little fuckers actually read my manifesto, Insurrectionary Agorism, which can be found in Vonu Life 25, which can be found on libertyunderattack.com? At least one of you must have gone to libertyunderattack.com and bought Vonu Life 25 and read my manifesto, Insurrectionary Agorism. And Vonu Life 25 came out like what, two months ago or something like that? I don't know, like 2.5 months ago. I don't know. So even if you're deep in the ashwagandha jungle, surely you've gotten your copy of Vonu Life 25 by now. I mean, look, I get it. The book came to you already soaking wet, covered in dirt. You may or may not know how to read. Maybe you had eaten some poison berries or licked a frog or something at the time when you were trying to read it. I get it. But surely you could at least make out some of what my manifesto said. So I ask you, dear boss, what did you think about insurrectionary agorism? I know it's kind of messy and rushed, and I've already thought of some new stuff to do with the second edition. But if you've checked out my manifesto at all, I want to hear what you think about it, or if there's anything it left you wondering, whatever. You can talk about that in the P.R.N. chat or call into the show, or even just talk to me one-on-one. You can go to vonupodcast.com/CD, find my session ID and SimpleX address. Thank you. If nobody gives me feedback on the manifesto, there will be acts of terror to promote it. Okay. This is the same thing that happened with the Unabomber. All right. No one would read his manifesto, and then look what happened. I'm just saying, I'm not making a threat. I'm just saying, if you don't do what I want you to do, I will cause death and suffering and like bad things, financial loss to happen in the world. Anyway, this show, this fine day, the down to earth tip will be more transportation privacy. We'll be going a short way by water. That's just lucky. I didn't know there was going to be a water theme today, but that's how it happened. For building the second realms, I will talk more on memetics, giving the second and last part on the memetics thing that I'm ripping off from my manifesto that you may have read. So yeah. And in an hour or so, we're going to have a guest, Jamin Biconik, a friend of the show, a PAZNIan hardware hacker, the guy who makes the stuff that you can buy and likely should buy at libertyunderattack.com/Thane. And don't forget, in an hour and a half, me and my guest will be taking your calls at PAZNIA.com/call2 and reading the chat at PAZNIA.com/SimpleXradio. Here's the news. Digital news. French crypto tax company hacked. Don't ask me what the business is called. I don't know. But it's funny, we're hearing a lot about people like paying taxes in France on cryptocurrency, people going after them, trying to get their info and figure out who they are and where they live and stuff. I almost wonder if it's linked in some way. Maybe there is an active criminal organization that's trying to rob people in France, and they're looking at people who pay taxes on crypto. I mean, hey, like, if you had to pick someone to rob, I'm not saying I think you should be robbed, but if I had to pick someone who holds crypto to be robbed, besides, I don't know, people who hold Ripple or something, it would be people paying taxes on cryptocurrency. I think that would be the top of my list, right? So I don't know, man, you kind of doubly deserve it because you were giving you're participating in your own extortion, and also in the process opening yourself up to more theft. So yeah, like, dude, if you've if you've paid taxes with cryptocurrency anywhere, really, paid taxes on cryptocurrency anywhere, but namely it seems in France, you might want to like move and stuff and like stop doing that. BTC Pay Server Peach plugin came out, I guess. Peach is this like P2P Bitcoin exchange. I guess it's kind of like what's that called? But Bisq, right? It's kind of like Bisq or something, I guess. I don't know. I don't know that much about Peach, to be truthful with you, but I've heard that a fair few folks use Peach, so I think that's pretty cool. BTC Pay Server has a Peach plugin. What the hell is that all about, do you ask? Well, I mean, I don't know, if you're taking payments with BTC Pay Server, then, maybe you want to just quickly go to like selling some of it or something like that. So I guess that's what the Peach plugin is for. I learned about this thing called Maple AI. Website is trymaple.ai. It's another AI business. There's a few out there that are trying to go the like privacy angle, trying to market themselves as like private way to use AI. These guys have some noteworthy claims, like they use open source software, they use end-to-end encryption, and of course, the big thing, okay, that's hard. It's hard to make AI private. It's a non-trivial thing to do because whatever you're inputting has to be sent to wherever the computation's being done, which probably isn't in your house or your cave or something, unless you either have very powerful hardware that you spent, like thousands of bucks on, which is hell. We could talk about that with Jamin because he has done things like that, or you have a weaker model. Now, to be fair, there's a lot you can do with, like even just like a pretty good graphics card for gaming, in a decent amount of RAM. There's a lot you can do with that. But, if you want fucking 70 parameters, hundreds of parameters in a model, you're likely going to have a rig made for AI for that. Or hell, maybe a rig for mining cryptocurrency. I don't know. But anyway, I'm trailing off here, but there's this thing, Maple AI. So anyway, the hard thing to make private with AI is the whole part where your actual fucking inputs, which are probably containing sensitive data, at least sometimes, or you would like to be able to put sensitive data in it. You need to make that computing itself somehow secure. Now, I think that in the world of tomorrow, this will be done with things like homomorphic encryption, and other kinds of secure distributed computing. The way that they are doing it here at Maple AI, it's not the way that I like the most, but it's at least a way that works, that it's something. It's where they use what's the word? Enclaves, trusted execution environments, enclaves, secure enclaves, whatever they call it. They have cryptographic attestation. What the hell does that mean? It means like, I don't have a deep understanding of it, but it means, I think they like encrypt the RAM, different bits of the RAM with, keys that are held inside the chip in the hardware that aren't ever supposed to leave that. So it's kind of like, dare I say, security through obscurity kind of thing. Like it's like it could be backdoored, right? Like the manufacturer, who says the manufacturer doesn't have their own copy of the private keys or whatever. But of course, it's, even if they did have their own copy, it doesn't attacks on you like you're being DDoS'd, so that when people have issues or whatever, or getting their funds or something, they'll like think there's a problem because of that, for a little while. So it'll give you like a grace period when you're exit scamming. That's a good idea. Crackdown news. I heard this about this UK banter ban. I don't know what the official word for it is, but I guess workplace banter will be banned or something. That's good. I think it's about time. Parties and party vans news. God, I'm burning up so much time talking about news when there's hardly any news items. But so I have this really messy story to talk about that. It's like a hot button story that a lot of people are talking about, which I don't like to cover, but it is, it's relevant to security because this is parties and party vans. And also there's a lot of confusion around this story. And that's exactly what they want, I think. Or for people to be able to feel very strongly about this one way or the other. So Somaliopolis PAZNIA news, it's not getting its own section anymore. Okay. Sorry. We had to make budget cuts. So this is like this is one of the messiest psyops in recent memory. As far as I can tell, here's what happened where this faggot got shot or whatever. I'm sure he's a nice guy or something. He got shot by ice bludgies. So basically, look, the context is this. You send in 3,000 feds somewhere, you can't do that. You can't send in all the, these guys, there's literally more of them than there are military. You can't do that without recruiting a bunch of retards out of nowhere, pretty much, who don't have much experience or training. That's the context that I feel like is being left out a lot here. And I think they, quote unquote, they may fully know that this will lead to problems. And that's what they want. They want there to be bad, incidents happening between the ice bludgies or whoever and all the protesters. That's why they're putting a bunch of idiot ice bludgies with hardly any training or experience into an area and then injecting a bunch of protesters into the area and trying to make the protesters be as provocative and violent and rowdy as possible to just set the stage for bad things to happen between them so that they can spin it really hard in both ways and try and get every right winger to think no fucking bludgy can ever do anything wrong and everything they ever do is justified. And to make the lefties think that, oh my God, it's always some sort of horrible, crazy example of police brutality, when, the truth might be neither, or it could be closer to one than the other, but that's not really what matters. It's a messy issue, really, because this guy, there's people thinking all kinds of things, right? He's a crisis actor. He's not really dead. Is that something that couldn't be true? No, sure, it could be. Why not? That sort of thing happens, probably not as often as those people think, but it happens for sure. Other people might think, and I wouldn't blame you for thinking, this guy's an agent, provoked this on purpose and then reached for a gun, like a suicide mission, agent provocateur thing. I've never heard of that. I've never heard of someone doing a suicide mission for a video op. I'm not saying that could never happen. You could get some sort of whacked out MK Ultra guy or whatever to do something like that. But normally they get them to do something better, like shoot up a crowd or something like that. And yeah, sure, crisis actor, why not? Sure, it could be, but I feel like it's more likely that this kind of is what it looks like. And all the real magic happens before and after the event, before setting the stage for things like this to happen, to make it more likely that they will happen rather than necessarily planning this exact event. And then after, how you spin it to one side. It's the old, there's an old voodoo story about Baba Legba or something walks down a street with one side of his hat red and one side of his hat blue. And the the people on one side of the town are like, "Whoa, did you see that guy? He had that big red hat on." And then the other side goes, "No, he had a blue hat on." And they like the whole village goes to war over what color his hat was. And then Papa Legba laughs and says, "Ha ha ha, I love causing strife." Anyway, that's I don't know if you if you understood anything through all that. I've been told that I'm going to just have to record the rest. You're not sure what's going on today. Am I even live or what? I'm going to keep talking anyway. Let's see. So yeah,